It's been 62 years since the assassination of John F. Kennedy. If you've been following along my channel, you know that I make a lot of videos on John F. Kennedy stating that I believe, this is my beliefs, that the Israeli Mossad, along with the CIA, specifically James Angleton in the CIA, and organized crime with Jack Ruby working under the Meyer Lansky Jewish Mafia and others took part in the assassination of John F. Kennedy. This video is just to share my overall thoughts and why I have make those claims, and just to kind of remember the great president John F. Kennedy. So it's been 62 years. Something that I haven't shared yet that I'm going to share right now is that I've actually been working with an AI developer, and we've been compiling all of the documents, and there's a lot of AI models already on GitHub that have analyzed and compiled all of the documents and did image to text of all of the JFK files that have already been released and put them into an AI model that where you can do full text extraction and keyword extraction. So that's something I've been working on for months now. There's a lot of pre-made models already available online, and that's already what I've been using in order to help me share a lot of the documents that I've been sharing with you guys previously. So if you know anything about me, you know that John F. Kennedy's assassination is something I'm enamored by in a very sad way. I just find it very fascinating, and I think it's really important for more Americans to really know about what went on. So, anyways, I do want to go through some posts with you guys. Well, first off, let me just say why I've made the statements before regarding John F. Kennedy's assassination. There's three things. What most people don't know is that John F. Kennedy was fighting with Israel over three primary things, among many others. And it's also part of you have to understand the reason John F. Kennedy and Israel had strong tensions is because, one, is John F. Kennedy was fighting with Israel's Prime Minister, David Ben-Gurion, and Levi Eshkol to stop the development of nuclear weapons. I've made previous videos where I've shown the message exchange, the letters between John F. Kennedy and Israel's Prime Minister, Levi Eshkol, regarding allowing Americans to come in and inspect Israel's nuclear facilities. That's the first reason. The second reason is because John F. Kennedy was also fighting, using his Department of Justice at the time, to have American Zionist Council, which was the Israeli lobby at the time, which later became AIPAC, register under FARA, the Foreign Agents Registration Act. And this upset the lobby a lot. John F. Kennedy was fighting with the lobby, trying to have them register dozens of times. He was trying to have the Zionist Organization of America register, and he was also trying to have the American Zionist Council register. And John F. Kennedy's overall aim was to have the entire Israel lobby and entire Zionist lobby register as a foreign agent. That's the second thing that John F. Kennedy's administration was doing. And the third thing is John F. Kennedy's administration was advocating and put forward a resolution at the United Nations to allow for Palestinians' right of return from their homes they were kicked out of in 1947. So again, these are my view, my belief, the motives as to why Israel and Zionist influence in the United States were interested and wanted John F. Kennedy eliminated, and why they also felt like by installing somebody like Lyndon B. Johnson that could be more favorable to Israel. Now, I'm going to do just a general overview of the evidence that I provide when I make these claims, also because I don't want this video to be too long. Again, I've showed you the Battle of the Letters before, where John F. Kennedy is fighting with Levi Eshkol, and I'm going to go ahead and just pull up my screen so that way you guys can see it again. So if you go to the National Security Archives, let me go ahead and share this tab and share my screen so that way you guys can see this. 40 years of Freedom Information Act. You'll see here, if you search up just the Battle of the Letters on Google, Battle of the Letters John F. Kennedy, you'll see all of the documents where John F. Kennedy was fighting with Levi Eshkol. Here's all the documents right here. And David Ben-Gurion, Israel's first prime minister, regarding the threats of allowing Americans to come in and inspect Israel's nuclear facilities, because the Israelis at the time were promising the Americans that they were not developing nuclear weapons and they were doing peaceful nuclear research, which was all BS. And John F. Kennedy was like, okay, well, if you're doing peaceful nuclear research, then American inspectors need to come in and see those sites every so often. And the Israelis were infuriated by that. They actually set up fake control rooms where the research and where the nuclear research was being conducted to deceive the Americans by believing that their program was peaceful while putting up fake walls, hiding some things, allowing other things to be seen, allowing certain things they wanted to be seen and other things not. So, Prime Minister David Ben-Gurion, this is a message exchange that went on for so long. And the message exchange went on for so long that David Ben-Gurion resigned. Now, there's a lot of individuals that believe one of the reasons David Ben-Gurion resigned as Prime Minister of Israel and Levi Eshkol took office is because he was so infuriated with how John F. Kennedy was treating him. And I'll show you guys a video here in a bit. But let's see. Let's just read what this letter says here. I pulled up a random one that you guys can see. This is April 26th, 1963. The description: not having answered the U.S. request about Dimona, Israel's nuclear site, David Ben-Gurion tried to change the subject in a long letter to Kennedy. Prompting the letter was the recent Egyptian, Syrian, and Iraq Arab Federation proclamation calling for a military union to produce the liberation of Palestine. Ignoring Kennedy's request for biannual visits at Dimona, Ben-Gurion elaborated his letter on regional stability and Israel's security in response to a proposed joint U.S.-Soviet security guarantee for the territorial integrity of all states in the Middle East. And it goes on, and you could see just how nervous David Ben-Gurion was. Now, I'm going to just go ahead and show you guys that video that I've previously showed you on a JFK researcher on why he believes Israel assassinated John F. Kennedy. So I think this is a pretty interesting video. Let me see here. Let's see. Right over here. Let me go ahead and share my screen again for you guys. JFK, Mossad. Let's see if I can pull it up quickly so you can see all of the JFK videos. There we go. Take a listen to this.
There's a very surprising series of letters between Kennedy and David Ben-Gurion, not only the premier of Israel, but the founder of Israel, in which they're very angry letters, in which Kennedy is saying to Ben-Gurion, I'm killing myself trying to get a nuclear test ban treaty. I've even got de Gaulle on board, and that's impossible. And you keep testing in Dimona. You've got to stop. And Ben-Gurion, thank you, in so many words says, it's easy for you to say sitting in Hyannisport. I'm sitting with the Arabs all around me, and you want me to give up nuclear testing. And Kennedy threatens him. And he threatens him in such a way that Ben-Gurion resigns. And I will tell you that I found articles, not in any crackpot publications, but in very sophisticated publications saying, forget Lyndon Johnson, forget the CIA, forget Fidel Castro. The Mossad killed Kennedy because they were so upset over what he did to Ben-Gurion. So, you know, we got a few little bombshells we throw in there, not proven.
Yes. So Martin Sandler, he extensively researched John F. Kennedy. He's a well-respected JFK researcher. The guy's pretty interesting. Should do a video on him later for you guys to see. That was one aspect of it. And there, of course, though, you're not going to assassinate a U.S. president. A country is not going to commit an assassination on a foreign country's president unless they feel like they can't get through something with that president and they feel like they have no other option. And if it was just a difference of opinion over Israel's nuclear site, that would be one thing. But it's a total dislike of the president in a way that I've truly never seen before. Maybe George H.W. Bush, Israel had a rift with him regarding the $10 billion loan guarantees. But when it came to John F. Kennedy, the level of anger the Israelis had towards John F. Kennedy, and this is not just coming from my own words. I've previously showed you guys in other videos the letter, the newspaper headlines at the time during John F. Kennedy's administration. Let me see if I have any of those newspaper headlines that I could share with you guys right now. If you looked at and if you pulled up newspaper headlines from 1963, even the month of JFK's assassination, 2 days before, honestly, choose any period, the level of anger Israeli headlines like Haaretz newspaper in Israel had towards John F. Kennedy is something I've never seen before. Let's see. Actually, here, I've previously posted some, and I have some right here. So why don't I just go ahead and share my screen? So I posted this on X not too long ago. November 4th. And 2 days before his assassination, JFK demanded Israel allow all Palestinians displaced in 1948 to return to their home. That's the UN resolution John F. Kennedy put forward that I've already explained. So here's one document. This is just a newspaper headline that I was able to find by going to the Israeli National Archives. And I was able to find this newspaper headline. And then, of course, I tossed it into Google Translate. Let me see and pull up the thing here. Israel does not accept the U.S. proposal under any circumstances. Eshkol expressed disappointment and resentment at the anti-Israel stance to the U.S. ambassador. It seems pretty crazy imagining that a U.S. ambassador is saying that the president's proposal is anti-Israel stance. But that's really what the Israelis felt. And not only did they say that, but Levi Eshkol stated, and David Ben-Gurion sent a letter to Jewish Americans here in the United States. And again, I've previously shown this letter in prior videos, stating that they will regard this plan that John F. Kennedy is proposing to allow Palestinians to return back to their homes, they will regard this plan a more serious threat to their danger than all of the Arab armies and kings, than all of Nasser's missiles and Soviet MiGs. They will regard this plan as a more serious threat to its existence, and they will fight it down to the last man. Down to the last man. That is almost a direct quote that I'm repeating. I've read it so many times that I've memorized it, basically. And again, if you go on my X, or genuinely, I think just a few videos back, you'll be able to find it. Actually, I'm looking at my slide deck here, and I have it right here. Okay, cool. So I previously saved it. Israel will regard this plan a more serious danger to existence than all the threats of the Arab dictators and kings, than all the Arab armies, than all Nasser's missiles and his Soviet MiGs. Israel will fight against this implementation down to the last man. See, I almost memorized the quote. So here's a photo I also have saved on my slide deck here of John F. Kennedy and David Ben-Gurion. When I refer to Levi Eshkol, that's Israel's second prime minister. That's after Ben-Gurion, that's this dude right over here. And let's see here. This is a New York Times clipping. Okay, cool. I've saved a lot in my slide deck on JFK. This is a New York Times clipping. Look at the date of that, November 21st, 1963. So just the day before John F. Kennedy's administration. And it's corroborating that Hebrew article that I posted. And the U.S. stand angers Israel. Levi Eshkol expressed extreme distaste today for the United States position on the Palestine refugee debate. Israel conveyed its anger in the strongest terms to the United States ambassador. Again, this is all happening right before the day before John F. Kennedy was assassinated. So anyways, guys, I want to make this video longer because once you get me started on JFK, I really can't stop talking. But I did promise my friends I'd go to dinner here, so I do have to dip and go to a dinner. But if you like this video and you want me to finish the other half, I will come back tonight and finish it up. Just give this video a thumbs up and click the subscribe button. I'd really, really appreciate it. Also, I'm really excited to tell you guys more about the AI model that I've been working on over the past, I think since like 2023 on JFK specifically. So we did image to text extraction of all of the files, and you'll be able to find a lot of GitHub files of that as well. And using that, putting an AI model on top of that. So after the image to text extraction, you can actually go through and interact with the AI model to search through and pull certain keywords and whatever else you want. So really excited about that. I think I'm going to be putting together a few more videos on random things regarding JFK's assassination most people haven't heard of. So hope you guys have a great evening.